Yahweh has prophesied and decreed the future. All the details of things that are going to happen and how they're going to happen, not necessarily when they're going to happen. So when we read these things and hear these reports, while we wait, we sometimes just interpret them according to our own understanding, worldview, and perspectives. It might be a problem. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 5, the last day of Shelach Lecha. Let's go to Bamidbar, Numbers chapter 15. Let's start with verse 1. In verse 1 and following it says, And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have come into the land of your dwellings, which I am giving you, and you make an offering by fire to Yahweh, an ascending offering or a slaughtering, to accomplish a vow or as a voluntary offering, or in your appointed times, to make a sweet fragrance to Yahweh from the herd or the flock. Then he who brings near his offerings to Yahweh shall bring near a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering. You prepare with the ascending offering or the slaughtering for each lamb. Verse 13 and 14. Let all who are native do so with them, and bringing near an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And when a sojourner sojourns with you, or whoever is among you throughout your generations, and would make an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, as you do, so he does. What in the world are we going to get out of that? Well, I find it interesting that Yah has just told this generation of people, you're not going in, you're going to circle in the wilderness for these decades, 40 years until you die, and then your children that you have called prey for these giants that you've encountered, they're going to go into the land and take the land. Now he's given instructions of how to make offerings to him when you come into the land, and the land of your dwellings, he says, which I'm giving you. So he's just told the generation, you're not going in, but now he's given instructions about when they go in. Sounds almost cruel and throwing salt in a wound. However, Yah is determined, my will, my way, my desire for Israel, it's going to happen. That's just the way it is. And you, as this current older generation, have chosen to deny your participation in that. So I am now speaking to your children, to another generation. What would have been righteous for the first generation is to hear these reports, hear these words, and then absorb them and teach them to their children, to their grandchildren. Whether they did that or not, we're not told. We're not told of the details of the intermediary decades, the middle part, where they journeyed and journeyed and journeyed in a big circle until finally they all died off. It is my intention, my desire and hope to be here when Messiah returns. I want to see the sky roll back like a scroll and Yeshua make his appearance. I want to see that. So I pray on a consistent basis, Father, send your son Messiah to us. Yeshua, come. Even so, come quickly and in my lifetime. I don't know how old that will make me, but I believe he is returning in my lifetime. So did my grandparents. Grandpa Phillips died at 97 in 1993, if I'm not mistaken. He died the last day of that year. And during 1993, he frequently said, I believe the Lord's coming back this year. Well, he did, but only for him. So Grandpa believed that, the Lord was returning. In his understanding, that was the rapture of the church. I remember Grandma Phillips back in the 70s, 1973, listening to Mays Jackson, a Baptist preacher that you heard on the radio on his program, The Truck Driver Special. Mays Jackson was on this record, and he was preaching about the Lord's return in 1973. And he was talking about how bad things were in 1973 and how that the Lord had to return. And I can still see the intense look on her face with hope and understanding that that would be a reality. She died a few years later. Incredible woman, but she died looking for his return. I want to live to his return. What does that say? I need to be preparing to live in the kingdom. Yah refers to these people that are going to go in. You're going to be the natives in the land. The occupants that are there now are no longer going to be there. You're going to become the natives of the land. And those who travel with you will be known as sojourners. Israel was not to be necessarily as America as a melting pot where everybody's immediately absorbed and all the cultures that they bring with it becomes a part of the whole. But rather, the sojourners were to come and to learn the ways of Yahweh and adopt the Hebrew culture and language and life and worship patterns, not adulterating what Yah had already established. This tells us then that we need to be prepared to live the kingdom life. And as Americans, we may not be bringing our American culture over. As Europeans, they may not be bringing their culture over. We're going to learn the ways of Yahweh. And there's a second part of this, and that is that we read these from our worldview and perspective, which here in our country is Western culture. It is a culture focused on the individual, the personal rights of the individual, not very much about the community. Living a kingdom life from a Hebrew mindset that Yah has established and given as a culture to his chosen people, Israel, it focuses on more of the community and much, much less of the individual. So we raise our children to be successful, to imagine what role in life you're going to play. What do you want to be when you grow up, is a frequently asked question. How are you going to live? Where are you wanting to live? How many children do you want to have? And we ask these questions about them as an individual, rather than training them to understand you are part of this family, you're part of our family's community, and how will you function as a contributing member? What is it that you're going to do to help the community? It's a totally different mindset. Yah is teaching us here, when you come into the land, this is how the community is to function. Anyone and all those who come before me to make an offering, everyone has the same pattern of approach. And whether you're the native who is in the land or whether you're a sojourner, everybody has the same process. That puts us together, sojourner and native together. This also tells us this is how it's going to be. The question is the same question that this failed generation had to understand. Are you going to be a part of it or not? This is what's going to happen. This is how things are going to go. The kingdom is going to be reality. May it come in our day, but are we prepared to accept the processes, the challenges to get us there? If not, we may be excluded and our children rise up and take our place. Something to consider. Shabbat Shalom to all those who are a part of this 10-minute Torah family. Thank you for prayers. Thank you for encouraging words. Thank you for your comments, for liking, for subscribing, supporting if you would. And may Yah's favor and presence be with you as you celebrate his day of rest. We'll see you again next week. Until then, Shabbat Shalom.